Now, many Ukrainian Americans right here in Connecticut continue to watch as closely as they can, try and reach their friends, their family, their loved ones, and now catching up on the very latest.
The world has to decide, like, are we going to allow this Hitler to reconstitute his vision of dictatorship in Eastern Europe, or are we going to preserve the democracies?
Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Mike Savino is joining us live from the Ukrainian National Home with some reaction. Mike and others have been talking with people there since last week. I imagine they are very upset, very unsettled by what they are seeing happen, Mike.
Yes, absolutely, Aaron. Even last week, they were still hopeful that we would not see this invasion, but of course, now it has happened, and they are very scared for their family and friends over in Ukraine. We've heard Putin talk about how he thinks Ukraine is part of Russia. Well, they continue to say here, the Ukrainian Americans continue to say that that is not the case, that this is a country that wants its own identity, that this is a country that wants nothing to do with Russia. In fact, many of the Ukrainian Americans that I've been talking with say that their families came over back in the during the 40s and 50s after World War II, either to flee from the Soviet Union or because they were displaced by the Soviet Union. And now they are afraid for their family and friends who are still over in the Ukraine. They're worried because it's hard to predict what Putin might do, and of course they're afraid for the worst.
Now, Mike, today the president said a few times that he will not send U.S. troops into Ukraine. However, they also made clear that if anything happened in any NATO nation, including Poland, which is very close, that we would immediately fight back. What do they want to see happen here with U.S. troops?
Well, everyone that I've talked to agrees that they don't want to see troops on the ground in Ukraine. They don't think that's needed at this point. Some of the people that I've talked with do think that the Ukrainian military is strong enough to fend off and defend Ukrainian lands. They do want to see strong sanctions to put pressure on Putin to back off and end this war. But not everyone agrees. I did talk with somebody who thinks that some military support may be needed because he's worried again about what Putin is capable of. He's worried about this going possibly even beyond Ukraine. He doesn't think that troops need to go in, but he thinks support perhaps from the Air Force or some other military support could be needed. I'll have more coming up on Eyewitness News at 6.